Welcome back to Switched to Linux. Well, today we're going to have a quick look at Evolution, which is, in my opinion, the best email client on Linux. Now, I use Evolution for half of my emails, and I use Thunderbird for the other half. And so what we're going to do today is just kind of walk through what Evolution is. And the reason we're going to look at this is I did receive a comment the other day, people talking about switching to emails. We did the email privacy comments. And the biggest question is, what is a good comparative to Outlook? And Evolution happens to be it. No, we're not talking about transferring monkeys into people. We are talking about the GNOME application. And so Evolution is going to be in pretty much any repository. I believe Fedora ships with it. And if it's not on your system, and most likely it's not going to be, you just need to get it installed. So I'm just going to boot into Synaptic Package Manager. You can search for Evolution. Of course, if you have like a software center, it's good as well. So you want to just make sure that you have Evolution installed, just the basic Evolution package. You also are probably going to want the standard plugins pack for Evolution as well, as there's going to be some other things in there that you're probably going to want. Now, we're going to walk you through setting up a email, and I'm doing this on a system that I had access to, but what I don't have is the domain any longer. I let the domain lapse because it was not needed, and so we are not actually going to be able to show you in this video that the email works. But this is the exact same setup. I've mirrored it across several other working domains. It's just for the ultimate security and the privacy of the system. We are not going to show that information. So let's go ahead and talk about, if you're following along with my privacy system and you have a domain-based email, how can you access your email information? So what I'm going to do is head on over to whatever your website is. So I'm still using my tlml.link. The domain is no longer pointed out. I can redirect the website back to like Nextcloud, but what I can't do is I cannot use the email system because MX records rotate different ways. But regardless, if we head over to your domain name /webmail on a cPanel, we get a login here. We should probably do that with the SSL. So let me go ahead and do that with the SSL just because. I do not have this redirected just because it was a test account. So let's go ahead and do this. And so now we are securely logging in, and then you just need to log in with what your email is. So it's email@tlml.link. And we'll go ahead and paste this guy in. That's my password. So when you are using a cPanel system, you log in and you have access to two email clients, Horde and Roundcube. I believe Horde is the better one if you are on a mobile device. Roundcube is, in my opinion, the best for a desktop setup. And then here is all of your mail settings. This is what you need. Now, you can also come over here and do things like set your email filters, forwarders, delivery tracks, account preferences. I'll need to play around with the calendars, contacts. So over here we have SSL settings. Where possible, always use the SSL. So this is the information you're going to want to keep open. So anywhere where it asks for a username, you're going to use your username. Your password, you just need to make sure that you have the password. And then incoming mail server. And then if you're using IMAP 993, of course, I say use POP because it's going to be better for more long-term security. Use 995. And then your outgoing port, no matter which direction you're going, is always 465 on SSL. Now, your outgoing port on non-SSL, this here says 2525. Also, number 25 or the number 26 will also work. Some email providers or ISPs are going to block port 25, which is why cPanel is now saying use 2525 instead. So with that, we are going to go ahead and boot up Evolution. Now, the reason I like Evolution as a better platform, now it is going to give us a little error up here because it cannot access the MX records. Don't worry about that. But the reason I like this is it's set up as the old school Outlook, which for a business system is much better. So we have our basic inbox. You can create your folders. We have all of the systems and rules to check and sort emails into folders based on rules. What's the subject, what's the email address it's coming from, etc. We also have the ability to use our contacts. Of course, we still have our contacts in here from our Nextcloud tutorials. And we have the ability to implement our calendars. And once again, I do have my calendars in here from our Nextcloud tutorials. So here's our calendars. Now, the reason those are working but email is not is because I can do a host file redirect. And since this is connected based on your basic HTTPS, the email is controlled by a different type of record, that being the MX record. We also have tasks and we have memos. So literally everything that you have embedded inside of your Outlook, you are going to be able to do right here from within this. So how do we set it up? You're going to head up to your edit menu and jump on down to your accounts. So your preferences, of course, is going to control other things. We have message filters over here. Various plugins. Accounts is where you are adding your new accounts. This is that error. It can't get it just because we are running on our MX records can't be found. We also, though, have the ability to have filters and things. So you can see here's your apply filters, stuff like that. So we'll kind of walk through a little bit of that. I think what we'll do is we're going to split out some more advanced videos if we need to. I just kind of wanted to give an overview in this one here. So again, let's go down. Here's our view. Here's our edit. There's your message filters. So this is where we want to adjust your filters. You can control where things are going. All right, so how do you set this up? We're going to go down to our edit, and we want to go down to accounts. Now, inside of your accounts, we have a variety of different things. So address books, calendars, memo lists, task lists. You want to go under your mail accounts. Of course, this is the cloud accounts. These are being controlled because I'm on Cinnamon, which has an online accounts integration. So that's how these are being put in here. So under here, you're going to just come over here and hit add, and then hit add a mail account, and then we have our information here. So what we're going to do is I'll just go ahead and reset this up like the last ones. We're just going to start by clicking our next. This first step here, we need to give it a name. So let's just call this a email. So this would be when an email comes in, it says who's it from. If there is a name filled out, it will give you this name here. So let's just call it my email, and then our email. So we have email at TLML. I feel like I did that right. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Doesn't work either way. And then if you want to put in a reply to address, organization, or alias, you can. If you look up mail server details based on the entered email address, it's going to go out. So if you plug in something like an Outlook account or a Google account, it's going to go out and it's going to find those. Now, depending on your cPanel may also report this data. So you might just be able to keep this open and click next. If that works, great. It takes care of most of your complexity. But we are actually going to unclick this checkbox. I'm going to show you how to do it manually because that's important to know how to do. So go ahead and click your next. You want to start with your server type, IMAP. That's what I said not to use. Use POP, of course, if you have one of these other ones. You're as a standard basic user, you're either going to do IMAP or POP. The other ones are going to be for more advanced network servers. So we're going to do POP. And then this is where we had our server here. So what is our incoming mail server? So that's what this one is right here. So in a cPanel, it's mail dot and then your domain and TLD. So mail.tlml.link in my case. If you're doing something like a Gmail, then you will actually need to go into your account settings and grab whatever your port is. I forget what it is, but it is in there. Okay, so here is what we have. Make sure we don't have that trailing space. Now, 110 is the non-SSL. You might want to go over to your SSL, which is your 995. Your username is always just your email. Of course, they also have that listed right here for us. So we're going to go ahead and jump down here, paste in our username. Make sure we get rid of this leading tab if we can. Really? I wanted to get rid of that leading tab, not delete everything else. All right, and then under encryption method, you want to go down to TLS on a dedicated port, and then authentication is password. All right, I did see there were some times when the port would always drop back to 110, so we're going to test that at the end. I've only seen that on this test machine. I've never actually had that show up in production. It's just something that I've seen. All right, so over here we can check for new messages so that's 1 hour. If you're one of the guys that's like, I'm only going to check email at the top of the hour, you want to keep it at 60. If you're like me, I like dealing with things as soon as they come in, or I might be waiting for something. I'll drop this down to 5 or 10 minutes. Now, where I was talking about in my privacy video is leaving a message on a server and only clearing it after a certain number of days. So if this were my master computer, I would click this button, leave it on the server, and I'd want to go ahead and change this. So I use 10 days. So keeping that at 0, nope, that computer will never erase the message from the server. So this means that after it checks the message and gets the message 10 days later, next time it pings to the server, it's going to delete it again. All right. And then next we want to go with sending. So of course, all of your sending email is always going to be the same. So in this case here, now I said always going to be the same. What I mean by that is IMAP or POP3 doesn't matter. SMTP is a different type of protocol. It's the same no matter what you're using, IMAP or POP3. Many of your mail servers, your incoming and outgoing servers are going to be the same. There are some of them that will change. So you are going to need to look for your incoming and outgoing servers. Other options, usually I see SMTP domain TLD, but there's a few other options out there as well. Let's make sure I don't have anything there. Again, we want to go to our 465, which is our SMTP. And then under no encryption method, TLS on a dedicated port. Make sure you hit your server requires authentication. And then down here, I believe we use login on this one. Dude, I think this is what we're going to do. And of course, your username is, once again, your email address. So let's go ahead and copy your email address and paste that in. Okay, so hit our next. This is just the name of the account. This is an internal name, so we can keep it where it is, or we can add something else. And then hit our next, and we are done. So hit apply. We should be good. Let's go ahead and double check, make sure that that did keep my 110, my 995, I'm sorry, instead of my 110. So that worked. Now, once again, sorry, I will not be able to test it to make sure it works just because this domain is not here. Why am I not doing it with a real address domain? It's simply for security and privacy purposes. So that is going to work. If that doesn't, then leave some comments. We'll see if we can help. I can't promise it, but that's what you can do. As far as your contacts, address books, of course, you can refer to the Nextcloud tutorials for how I made this sync with Nextcloud. But for the cases here, just head to your contacts tab, come up here, and under your new, we have the ability to select what we're working with, either contact. This is an individual contact. An address book will get us a collection. So you might want to do an address book. And then what type is it? So on this computer, just stays locally here. CardDAV is something like our Nextcloud. If you're using Google, you can do this. So give this a name. So we're going to go ahead and use whatever our name would happen to be. And so let's just call this our Google integration. And your user, this is just going to be your Gmail account. So maybe I created a Gmail account with this particular email address. Then what I would do is just go ahead and hit this. Of course, you'd have to have had a Google account created with this. And then when you do that, when you first access this, then you're going to be greeted with your sign-in. So of course, this is going to have you go through all of your security protocols. Once you sign in, then your contacts from Google are going to sync into your system. You'll be able to add a new contact directly from Evolution. You'll be able to email out from it, whatever you need to do. Similar thing is going to happen on your calendar. You can come on down and you can add a new calendar, which is going to be a Google Calendar. Once again, Here's Google, here's on the web. So if you were to select a Google Calendar, once again, just give it a name, assign it to a color. Let's just give it a red. And then username, once again, just use your email address if it's connected to your Google account. And then it's not able to connect simply because I don't have a Google account actually connected to this. So that's going to work in the event that you have that. So with that being said, that is your basic overview of evolution. Let's go ahead and really quick though, let's go through one more section before we wrap this video up. Let's look at our preferences. So inside of our preferences, we have the ability to select default accounts. We can see that what we have, so I might want to change an actual email address to default. Under your contacts, you can set your basic default date apparatus here. I don't remember if this actually controls this date or if this controls another date here, but you can kind of scroll through, see which one you like the most. Open maps with OpenStreetMap or Google, so you have a couple options there. Under your mail preferences, you can see that we have a lot of different options there. Once again, it keeps on trying to check mail, but it's not going to successfully find any mail just because MX records are not working. All right, here is all of these. Here's your calendar displays. So what is your system time? What is your work week? What's your day begin, day end? Just a variety of different options in here for all of your settings. All right, so this is just a brief overview of Evolution. Let me know if you use Evolution or not. I absolutely love Evolution. This is my preferred mail client on Linux for doing business-related stuff. Content creation stuff, I still use Thunderbird because I do want things isolated into different accounts. So it's just different purposes, different reasons, what you're doing different things for. So let me know if you guys want to see how to do the same things with Thunderbird, or if you want to see some more details about how to work within Evolution. Just let me know all those thoughts in the comments down below. Once again, you can help support the channel by having a look at the links down in the description down there. And I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.